Revision and negative stories. Let's talk about this. First of all, revision is where you revise something in your past. Most people typically use revision for revising an argument or a breakup. I use revision in a blanket way to revise everything all at once, so I don't have to go to every single incident. And I use one word to revise. Now let's talk about negative stories. Negative stories is anything that is running through your mind, you're saying out loud, that is constantly repeated, that is what you deem bad. So if you take revision and negative stories, you're supposed to go to, I had a fight with my boyfriend, so now I'm going to revise this, and I'm going to revise this so this fight never happened. But you still talk about the fight. You still talk about how you revised the fight. True revision means that situation never existed. It totally never existed. And if it never existed, then what happens? We completely revised the situation. Forgiveness is the same as revision. If you forgive something, you should totally forget about it. But that's not how it's really used by most people. Most people do I revised this situation, and is everybody gonna see that I revised it to this situation? I revised this, and it's gonna, he's still talking about. So I'm gonna teach you revision and negative stories in a different way. But first, this is Susie, your beautiful Swan Queen. Welcome back to the garden, my beautiful duckling. Thank you for subscribing, smashing the like button, sharing my video. I love you. I am the best life coach with a 99.6% success rate in helping people get together with the love of their life. It's not the only thing I do. I specialize in relationships though. If you would like to work with me one-on-one, join my paid Facebook group, Upscale Your Money, buy t-shirts from my daughter and her bestie. Those links are in the description below. My program to get rid of your negative stories. I call it a book, but it is a program. It's a course with lessons that you can walk through at your own pace that helps you do exactly what I'm saying here. Revise a situation. So in order to revise that situation, you can go do it easily by clicking the link in the description below, or you can try and follow through and do what I'm about to teach you. So my programs actually revise your past, revise situations in your life. And when you truly revise, and I've done this with people who I've helped revise their money, they don't ever remember being broke. They don't ever remember struggling. They don't even remember me changing their money mindset. They will argue and say, oh, I was wealthy all along. I don't know what you're talking about. I'll be like, I changed it. And I'm like, no, you didn't. So I think I need to record those to prove to people otherwise. But I don't, because I don't want to undo the fact that I changed the situation for them. So this is what we do. We talk about a problem. So any problem, we're gonna use specific person. You talk about your specific person is ghosting you, ignoring you, is hot and cold. Then, they ghosted you, so they died. And then they get back to life, and then they get back to life. Because, I still think ghosting is where your SP is no longer on this planet, and they are now one of your angels watching over you. It's my warped sense of humor. So when you are revising, most people go to a specific incident. So you're revising your day-to-day, because we're told to go to bed at night, lay in bed. So you're laying in bed and you're all nice and comfy in bed, and you're going through your day, and you get to this fight you had with your specific person. So now you're supposed to go, oh, my specific person and we had dinner this evening, and it was such a lovely dinner, and we talked about the movie we watched and getting married, and you come out of this. And tomorrow morning you wake up and you send him a beautiful text, and he doesn't respond. because he's still mad at you. He's still reeling over the fight from last night. You didn't properly revise the situation. You didn't see from the perspective that you had an incredible evening. You're still seeing from the perspective, and then you go on social media and you're like, you know, I revised the situation and it's still not going my way. Like, he's still mad at me. What do I need to do? Do I go back and revise it again? No. You revise the relationship as a whole. So you have to find out what you're stuck with. Are you stuck because of the third party? Are you stuck with hot and cold? Are you stuck with ghosting? Are you stuck with feeling unworthy or undeserving of this relationship? Because that is the real thing. The reason your relationship is hot and cold 99.9% of the time has nothing to do with your SP. It has to do with the way you are seeing the relationship. And if you are seeing the relationship as good, then the relationship is going to be good. But if you are seeing the relationship as chaotic, and hot and cold is chaotic. 1 minute they're really good with you, the next minute they're not. So to revise it, you have to truly let go of the story about why your relationship is up and down. So you're not revising the conversation at dinner. You're revising from the moment you met to this moment in time. So you sit down and you let it all out. You let it all out. Why do you feel this way about your relationship? Why are you hurt? Why are you upset? Why are they making you feel unworthy, undeserving? What about this relationship upsets you? That story has not been heard. So it is like a book. You picked up a book and you're reading this book and you all of a sudden don't like the way that the book is turning. So you put the book down and you never finish it. So you haven't finished the negative story, so you can change it to what you desire. So once you let the negative story out, then your questions, phrases, and statements can change the relationship. And your focus is on the problem, so you're growing your neural pathways. So your neural pathways are getting really big out here. And when you stop talking about the problem because you solved it, these problem neural pathways start shrinking and they go bye-bye. And then your affirmations, your afformations, your ask-formations, your questions, statements, phrases start growing, and you start seeing results from this growth. So if you were literally to sit there and say, I've always had a great relationship with my SP. I've always seen that I've had a great relationship with my SP. People are always telling me, I wish that my person looked at me like yours looks at you. I have this amazing relationship and it's always been incredible. It's always been fantastic. It's always been romantic. It's always been fun. It's always been easy. I've always been the love of their life. From the moment we met, always been the love of their life. I have always been great at relationships, especially romantic ones. Is way better than all of those other phrases, because now you're not making it about the SP, you're making it about how you feel that you are in a relationship. I've always been great at romantic relationships. People always spoil me, my SP especially. It's about you seeing them as spoiling you. But until you release the old story, they can't show up to spoil you. So how do you let it out? There's a lot of different ways of letting it out. In witchcraft, you write it all out and you burn it. In spirituality, you pray. In meditation, you go into the meditation and you sit in the silence and allow this stuff to pass. But most of us don't believe in all of that stuff. We don't see that that stuff works. So you can try one of those methods. I personally like the write it out and burn it. Write it out and burn it. Whether it is one sentence, 50 sentences, 5 pages, 10 pages. If you do not finish the story, how can you move on? You can't, because you're stuck. And that's why you're in this, some good, some bad. And it follows you in every relationship. So unless you're one of those unique people who go, okay, well, this person is this person, and this person has nothing to do with how this person treats me. Like, for example, me with my ex. My ex didn't treat me the greatest all the time. But when I was dating the same person, my Jared, for 6 years, he treated me like an angel. I was seen, I was heard, I was validated. We never raised our voices at each other, never had an argument. And the one time I was hurt and upset and snapped, he was hurt that I just didn't let all of the assault out. He cared about me so much that he wanted me to explode, to get it out. But I couldn't explode at him because he did nothing wrong. So a lot of times your specific person is playing out the relationship of the past. So you have to stop letting this person standing in front of you take responsibility for actions from somebody in your past. And until you change the way you see the relationship you currently have, it's going to stay hot and cold. It's going to be up and down. And I'm going to preface it this. If you are in a toxic relationship and you are trying to fix the toxic relationship, get out, heal yourself, and then work on your relationship concept. Now, healing yourself isn't, I'm automatically great at relationships. It is dealing with the trauma and the triggers that this person caused you. For example, I was assaulted, so I have triggers. If somebody comes up behind me and hugs me, I'm going to flinch. If somebody hugs me too high, I might flinch. But I went to therapy and I dealt with being assaulted. That is completely separate from having a physical relationship with somebody. Being physically, mentally, or otherwise abused by a person leaves you with trauma. That's not you feeling you're not worthy or deserving of a good relationship. So if you have intimacy problems, if you have the ability of like you're constantly apologizing, it's because this person in the past left you with this. And freeing yourself from these stories is the best gift you can give yourself. And honest to God, freeing yourself of negative stories is true self-love. I say it all the time. True self-love is freeing yourself from the negative story. You're not saying the assault didn't happen. You're freeing yourself from the trauma and how you feel and interact with people. This is a really huge example of explaining. You can't be in a relationship with a healthy person if you have the mindset of an abused person. Because the healthy relationship is more toxic. So when you sit down and you let go of your story, and it's not sitting there and feeling the emotions, the thoughts, and the energies. This exercise should take no more than 30 minutes. It would be like a therapy session. You write it out, you pour it out, you keep pouring it out, you keep pouring it out, and then you can look and see, have you released this? So my kids will call me and they'll be like, Mom, I'm upset. And I'll be like, okay, I'll give you 15 minutes, go. After 15 minutes, I ask them, do you feel better? If they don't, I ask them, what else do you need to let out? And we will go another little bit. And I'll be like, you've been complaining about this situation for 30 minutes. Did you let it all out? Because if there's complaints, that's different than letting it all out. And y'all understand what I mean. If you're complaining, you're just going over and over and over. So the first 15 minutes you let it out, the second 15 minutes you're complaining, then you're not finishing letting it out. So then I'm like, what are you not telling me? Because now you're just complaining about the situation. What else needs to be talked about? So then I'll let them go a little bit longer. But if they're going to spend 40 minutes and they've already told me the story and we're 40 minutes into this and there's nothing else that comes out, then I ask them, do you just need to vent or do you want me to help you change the situation? So within an hour, I want this story to stop because I don't want my children to be stuck in this. Now, did I do this 30 years ago when I first had kids? Absolutely not. I didn't know you should pat the child on the back and let them cry it out. I was on my own, didn't have any help. When it came to advice for parenting, I had none. Today, when Chance gets upset and he starts crying, I'm like, let it all out. It's okay. You're safe. Let it all out. I got you. You're safe. Even Ophelia at 7, let it all out. Life has taught me to be a different parent. When you first start in a relationship, you're coming from your past. So you look for the red flags. You look for the things that I don't want to be in this type of a relationship again. So now guess what? This person does these things because your neural pathways are out here. So you have to change. You have to revise the way you see relationships. Neville Goddard taught, I remember when my relationships were toxic. Now they're beautiful. Now they're amazing. Now they're loving. Now they're incredible. I remember when I had. But I like to do it a little differently. I like you to let it all out and then use a simple phrase, question, or statement that has always in it. I've always had an amazing romantic relationships. I always have amazing romantic relationships, always have money, always spoiled, always being treated with kindness, love, and respect. People are always kind to me. You remember when I bought a sign, but be kind. But always be kind, but be kind. And I put it on my door because I was having a bunch of rude people knock on my door. Manifesting doesn't teach you real practical life when it comes to relationships. You can manifest flowers, but unless you want to spend 86,400 seconds a day manifesting everything the love of your life does, your children does, your family does, your boss does, which is overly exhausting, just let it go. Just sit down and ask yourself, how does it feel to get this story out? How did I find the answer to my problem? Thank you, I found the answer to my problem. I remember when I had that problem, I am so grateful that my life is now filled with love and joy. Because if you continue to talk about the problem, it's not going to change. So try something different and use revision to revise everything in your past. And if you need a little bit of help, check out my course, Discover Your Inner Royalty. I'm also doing one for money, and I have a specific person one to come, because I promise you it will drastically change your life for the better. You guys have an absolutely positively amazing day. As if you've gotten this far in the video, leave me a comment. Let me know how I am drastically changing your life for the better. And if you would like to help somebody change their life, bethematch.org. Travis still needs a donor. I haven't seen that post, so super excited because Jason's going to be making that post any minute. Leave it in the comments. Travis is cured. I'm super excited. Travis is cured. Life for him and his family and his loved ones are absolutely amazing. And Travis can be filled with anybody you know. I'm super excited because they're cured. Have an absolutely positively amazing day. Go outside and do something fun today, because you deserve it.